What's going on, guys? This is part 2 of the Redstone tutorial for beginners. I missed a couple things in the last video. I realized that now. There are a couple things, basic properties I forgot to explain, so I'm going to go over those quick. And then I will continue into the basic logic gates. And in later episodes, we'll get into more advanced logic gates and different types of things that you can do with Redstone. And yeah, and we'll get into build tutorials. So basically, okay, so let's see here. Power sources can power doors that they are directly attached to, meaning the power source is directly attached to the door, and seeing as this block containing all of these are the power sources, and they power all adjacent blocks in this direction, they will power the door. It works the same for pressure plates as well if they are right next to the door, and it'll work. That's just to show you that it also works if you attach redstone to a block that is connected to the door. It will work from a power source as well. The buttons work, but they only work for a certain time. Pressure plates work, but only while you're on them. Then, if you have a pressure plate more than one space away, you have to connect it by redstone somehow. But if you just connect it by redstone wire, it won't really do anything. You could run the redstone wire up from below the pressure plate and then into one of these blocks, but you'll have to build around it to cover it up, and it makes it look ugly. So we have a basic build that I can show you here. Like I told you before, the redstone wire one block underneath the block housing the pressure plate will turn on. So remember, we have an inverter gate right here, also known as a NOT gate. It's a very simple logic gate, so we won't have to really explain that. But it's going to invert the signal on the torch when the redstone is activated. So you step on this pressure plate, activates the redstone, cuts out the torch, which then cuts out this wire, which allows this off torch to turn on. And remember, torches power the blocks directly above them as well, so it will power that block holding the door. And what you'll get is the door opening. Now, there are two different types of properties for pressure plates as well. I didn't explain this to you before. If you have to stand on a pressure plate made of stone in order for it to power something, but you can throw an item onto a wood pressure plate and it will end up powering the block that it's containing, as well as the block underneath if you have the redstone underneath. So you just throw the block on there, or the item on there, pick it up, and then bam, power, bam, wow, power. Also, okay, so let's do some more of the basic things. Redstone, when powered, or power sources rather, you can put a torch directly to it as well, but when you power redstone into a rail, it switches its track positioning. And it also powers the powered rails, which will speed up the minecart to a speed of, I believe, 14 blocks per second or something of that sort. But, yep, so that's how that works. Then redstone, when running directly into a block of TNT, will ignite it, set it off. It also works, you can't place the redstone directly on a block of TNT, it doesn't work anymore, but you can run the redstone directly in line with it as well. It doesn't have to be on the bottom running into the block. You can lay it like that, well, getting frame rate issues, and it will do the same. And then if you're in creative mode, I'm just going to do this for the sake of fun. If you're in creative mode, you can make a cannon out of yourself. Yay! Let's see. Put a block of sand there. And then put a torch here. Oops. Never mind, we'll just put the torch down there. And stand in the center of that. And whee! Okay. Now, we also have dispensers. Dispensers, when they have a redstone signal sent to them, they only eject one thing at a time. But you can build pulsar repeaters out of redstone that constantly fire really fast, so you can make arrow traps out of them. I'll put a video up after this one where I build one, a simple arrow trap, and I will link it in an annotation right here, so you can check it out if you want. But that's how that works. And also, you have to avoid the misconception here that if you put redstone up from this side, it'll power both of those. It only powers the one underneath. You have to have it coming from the back to power these two simultaneously, because you're running the redstone this way when you come from the back. Also, we have pistons, sticky pistons, and normal pistons. Hold on, I'm gonna just drop my my video settings right now so I can handle this. So we have pistons, normal and sticky. Basically, a normal piston will push a block directly adjacent to it, but it won't pull it back. But a sticky piston will pull it back, so you'll have that kind of effect. And then you can do some neat things with that by kind of exploiting that property. So if you'll notice, you can push these out and pull that one back and drop that out, so it acts as kind of like a timer. So you can, it also acts as a feeding, like a hopper. You can use it as a hopper feeding mechanism for types of doors, stuff like that, where there will be a continuous loop that will push out these blocks like this. And then on the other end, it'll stack them up, and then when you want to close the door, it'll push them back the other way, things like that. I'll show you those types of builds as well. I will do a couple of tutorials on that, but that is how that stuff works. So, with that, we will do simple logic. Do a quick simple logic gate explanation.